con un programa de atención materno-infantil que ofrece todas las garantías de salud preventiva y curativa a estos grupos de población. Garantiza además la atención médica a la mujer en edad reproductiva, a la gestante en consultas ambulatorias, en los hogares maternos y otros servicios especializados, refrendándose así de esta manera el acceso a la salud sexual y reproductiva como un derecho de todas las personas.
Cuba counts with a maternity infant attention program, PAMI, that offers guarantees of preventive and curative and healing health to all the groups in our population. The medical attention of women in their reproductive years, for the pregnant women in ambulatory places, for maternity homes, and other specialized services, referring to the way the access to this sexual health and reproductive is a right to all the people.
El sistema de salud pública cubano cuenta con varias acciones dirigidas a elevar la natalidad y la fecundidad en grupos de mujeres mayores de 20 años, tales como una red de atención a la pareja infértil, el fortalecimiento de los servicios municipales de planificación familiar con incremento de métodos anticonceptivos modernos, la reducción del número de los abortos, el incremento de los realizados con los métodos medicamentosos, así como una estrategia de promoción de salud.
The public health system counts with a diversity of actions that they lead to elevate the natality and the way women over 20 years old can have babies, such as there is a rate of attention of infertile parents, the strengthening of the municipal services of family planification, and an increase of anti-conception methods, modern anti-conception methods, and to reduce the number of abortions. The increment of all these medicament methods, as well as the strategies of promotion of health.
Para atender esta problemática, se busca garantizar el acceso universal a los servicios de salud sexual y reproductiva, la planificación familiar, la información y educación, y en paralelo con la integración de la salud reproductiva en las estrategias y los programas nacionales. En Cuba, la interrupción voluntaria del embarazo está reconocida como un derecho. Su realización es legal, gratuita y en instituciones de salud. La existencia de servicios de aborto seguros y de calidad para adolescentes y mujeres que cursan embarazos no deseados y no aceptados garantiza la salvaguarda de su salud y de sus vidas.
In order to take care of these problems, the states looks to guarantee the universal access to the sexual and reproductive health services. They have family planning. They give information and education together with the integration of the reproductive health in strategies and national programs. In Cuba, the voluntary interruption of a pregnancy is recognized as a right. The legal realization is free and in health institutions. The existence of services of abortion that counts with quality for all teenagers and women that they don't want or they don't desire to continue with their pregnancies, all of their pregnancies are not accepted. So they are guaranteed with a good service, health service, and for the well-being of their lives.
El nuevo Código de las Familias, aprobado en el año 2022, eliminó la aprobación excepcional del matrimonio en niñas a partir de los 14 años y niños a partir de los 16 años, reconocida en el código que estaba vigente del año 1975, estableciendo como edad mínima para el matrimonio los 18 años sin diferencias por sexo.
The new Family Code of 2022 eliminate the proving, the exceptional proving of marriages with girls from 14 years old and boys from 16 years old, that it was accepted in the Code of 1975. The new code established a minimum age for marriage of 18 years old without any differentiation of sex.
El reconocimiento, además de la autonomía progresiva, debe o incide en la eliminación de determinadas barreras que se habían documentado en el país para el acceso de las adolescentes a los servicios de salud sexual y reproductiva, con impacto en las tasas de embarazo, aborto y fecundidad en estas edades.
The states recognize the autonomy of progressive autonomy that should indicate the elimination of barriers that they were documented around the country to access of services to teenagers, with the impact in the indices of pregnancy, abortion, and fecundity. Oh, sorry. Fecundidad. Okay, good.
En el periodo entre el 2020 y el 2024 se ha avanzado en la promulgación de leyes e implementación de medidas para enfrentar diversas formas de discriminaciones y violencia contra la comunidad LGBTIQ+ cubana, que ha estado en el debate público durante más de 20 años, desde la primera jornada contra la homofobia y la transfobia organizada por el CENESEX en 2007.
During the period of 2020 to 2024, we have been improving in the publishing of laws and implementation of measures that face different forms of discriminations and violations against the LGBTIQ+ community in Cuba. We have established a public debate since 20 years ago since the first Cuban journey against homophobia and transphobia, organized by the CNSX in 2007.
Activistas de la Red de Mujeres Lesbianas y Bisexuales y la Red Transcubas, ambas con grupos en todas las provincias del país, han trabajado junto a especialistas del CNSX en la identificación de las principales formas de violencia que sufren estos grupos por su orientación sexual o identidad de género, estrechamente vinculadas a la cultura patriarcal y a las violencias por motivos de género.
Activists of the Bisexual Lesbian Women Network, together with the Trans-Cuba Network, both groups in all the provinces in the country have been working together with specialists from the CNSX to identify the principles, ways of violence that these groups suffer due to their sexual orientation or identity, gender identity, together with that they were established linked to a patriarchal culture and the violations due to gender motivations.
En este sentido, el Código de las Familias previó la protección de la violencia en el seno familiar, así como abrió el camino para el acceso al matrimonio igualitario, la reproducción asistida, la adopción y la gestación solidaria.
Thank you. In that sense, the new family code prevent the protection of the violence in the families, as well as opening a way for them to access equal marriage, assisted reproduction, adoption, and the solidarity pregnancy.
En el año 2022, el Ministerio de Salud Pública aprobó y puso en marcha el reglamento de la reproducción asistida en seres humanos que amplía esta oportunidad para las mujeres entre 20 y 45 años y los hombres entre 20 y 55 años sin ningún tipo de discriminación.
The Public Health Ministry in 2022 elaborate and also started the reglement of assisted reproduction in human beings that give opportunities to women between 20 and 45 years old and men between 20 and 55 years old to have that service without any type of discrimination.
Esta medida responde a una de las violencias más identificadas hasta el momento por lesbianas cubanas que necesitaban acudir a relaciones heterosexuales no deseadas o violentas para ellas si deseaban ser madres, pues estos servicios se insertaban en el Programa Nacional de Atención a la Pareja Infértil y por ende debía ser una pareja heterosexual.
This measure was an answer to all the violations for lots of cases identified for Cuban lesbian that needed to have heterosexual relationships that they didn't want, or they were violated for them if they wanted to be mothers. This service was inserted in the National Program of Attention for Infertile Partners and only for heterosexual.
También en el año 2022, la instrucción 1 del Ministerio de Justicia derogó una instrucción existente del 2012 que supeditaba el cambio de nombre para las personas trans al cambio de sexo a raíz de una cirugía de adecuación genital, condición que construía una barrera al ejercicio de este derecho. La nueva medida establece que las personas trans pueden modificar su nombre sin un requerimiento quirúrgico, por lo que simplifica el proceder y lo iguala al resto de las personas.
Therefore, in 2022, the instruction number 1 of the Justice Ministry eliminate the instruction number 1 of 2012 that it was mandatory to change the names in the trans people together with the sex due to a surgery of their genitals, situation that constituted a barrier in the exercise of their rights. With the new measure of 2022, it was established that every trans person could modify their name without the requirement of a surgery. In that way, the process was simplified and equal to the rest of the people.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, compañera Osmaida Hernandez, Director of International Relations for the FMNC, the Federation of Cuban Women. Now we're going to give the mic to our next compañera, speaker, Yamila Gonzalez Ferrer, Vice President of the National Union of Cuban Jurists, UNJC. Welcome her, please, with a beautiful applause. Again, thank you.
Sí, podemos cambiarnos de aquí. Me siento bien.
Porque si no mover eso va a ser difícil.
Buenas tardes y muchísimas gracias por la oportunidad de este intercambio con ustedes.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to have this exchange of ideas.
A mí me gustaría complementar la presentación de Osmaida con algunas ideas muy particulares, con algunas ideas y ejemplos particulares.
I would like to complete my Conrad's presentation with some particular ideas.
En primer lugar, que si bien en Cuba, desde el propio triunfo de la revolución, el proyecto social incluyó medidas concretas y acciones y normas jurídicas.
Since, hello, can you hear me? Okay. Even though since the very beginnings, lots of different measures were taken related to the reproductive life,
Algunas no tenían una base jurídica propiamente, es decir, no estaban incorporadas a las leyes.
unfortunately, some of them, they were not applied to the legal system.
Por ejemplo, el derecho de todas las mujeres a la interrupción voluntaria del embarazo existe en Cuba desde el año 1965 como un derecho universal, gratuito, amplio para todas.
For example, the interruption of a pregnancy exists in Cuba since 1965 as a right for all the women.
Y obviamente en esta última etapa, a partir de la aprobación de nuestra Constitución de 2019, donde se incluye en el artículo relativo a la igualdad de mujeres y hombres el respeto a los derechos sexuales y reproductivos.
So take into consideration the last amendment to the code in 2019. So there is a new way for men and women in their reproductive lives.
Pues las propias mujeres, fue incluso un reclamo desde la Federación de Mujeres Cubanas de que se visibilizara en el resto de la legislación estos derechos y que ya pudieran, o sea, plasmarse jurídicamente como lo que eran derechos ganados por las mujeres cubanas.
And due to the suggestions of the Cuban Women Federation that they were saying that we should put that into a legal contest as a right for all the women in Cuba.
Y es cuando se incorporan, por ejemplo, al Código de las Familias, como dijo Osmaida, además con una mirada muy amplia del respeto que debe tener la familia al derecho de las parejas y de las mujeres en última instancia a decidir sobre sus propios cuerpos.
And at that time, so it was decided to have it as part of the legal process that women have the right to decide with their own bodies and to respect the decisions of women and men in their reproductive life.
El delito, por ejemplo, de aborto ilícito, que sí existe en nuestro país desde hace muchísimos años y que es el que se realiza fuera de los protocolos establecidos, dígase fuera de los hospitales, con un personal no médico, causando violencia hacia las mujeres, se perfecciona en la nueva versión del Código Penal.
So in the new legal code, so we improved the law about all those illegal abortions. Illegal abortions in Cuba exist, and they are those that they are carried out of health institutions.
Y se incorpora un nuevo delito que es el relacionado con los actos contra la actividad reproductiva humana en el país y que son los relacionados con el uso de las técnicas de reproducción asistida, por ejemplo, también cuando no se realizan en los centros especializados y a partir de las regulaciones establecidas, bueno, también es ilícito.
And it became an illegal act to have assisted services out of the correct legal health institutions, because that is against women.
Y ya por último, en diciembre de 2023 se aprueba la nueva Ley de Salud Pública que incorpora un capítulo específico sobre derechos sexuales y reproductivos que complementa y fortalece toda la legislación que hasta ese momento se estaba aprobando.
So all the legislation that we had until 2023 was improved and reinforced by the health ministry and the law that they established for assisted services.
Con esto que les quiero decir que no solo se trata de incorporar en las leyes, sino de articular entre las mismas cómo se pueden, o sea, establecer nexos entre una y otra y cómo las instituciones también de manera articulada tienen que responder ante eso.
The idea is to establish a connection and collaboration among all the institutions that they have to deal with that issue. It's not only to establish in one department, but to work together for the reproduction of our people.
Ahora le quiero poner algunos ejemplos concretos a partir de situaciones que tenemos en el país, porque muchas veces se dice que venimos, o sea, no entre ustedes, pero dice, bueno, las cubanas siempre hablan de lo bueno que hay en Cuba, y bueno, tenemos que hacerlo porque hay tanta propaganda negativa en contra de nosotros y gente que nos quiere hacer daño que tenemos que venir y decir también las cosas que hemos logrado.
I'm going to give you some examples of what I have been talking. But before I want to tell you, I know that I am praying to the choir, but there are other people outside that they are always saying that we only talk about the achievements of our system. Something that we have to do because there are lots of negativity outside.
Pero también queremos que sepan que obviamente tenemos problemas y que estamos trabajando sobre esos problemas y cuáles son nuestros desafíos. Y por eso me gustaría ponerle breves ejemplos al respecto.
We know we have problems. That is something that is clear for us. But a part of having problems, I want to let you know all the progress that we have been doing.
Por ejemplo, una de las cuestiones que está en discusión es, a partir de las directivas de la OMS, es con el tema del consentimiento para la interrupción voluntaria del embarazo de las adolescentes, de las niñas y adolescentes, las personas menores de edad.
So we are working in the consent of the interruption of a pregnancy for under age and teenagers who get pregnant.
Y la legislación cubana lo que tiene establecido es que el consentimiento para la interrupción del embarazo lo da la propia niña o adolescente, pero sus padres o representantes legales dan el asentimiento. Es decir, es una forma que de alguna manera no son los que consienten, pero son los que asienten, es decir, que están de acuerdo con esa decisión de la menor de edad.
In this case, in our Constitution, we say that the right to interrupt the pregnancy comes from the minor, the girl, and her decision. That is the consent. But we also look at the parents and how they confirm what the girl wants as a way of supporting the decision.
Y bueno, tuvimos el primer caso el pasado año de una adolescente de 16 años embarazada que quería hacerse la interrupción voluntaria, la interrupción del embarazo, y su mamá no quería por cuestiones religiosas.
And we have the first situation last year from a girl of 16 years old that she wanted to interrupt her pregnancy, but the mother didn't want to do that due to religious beliefs.
En este caso, bueno, el papá había fallecido, solamente era la mamá la que debía dar ese asentimiento. Y bueno, fue el primer caso que llegó a los tribunales y en el que los tribunales tomaron la decisión que la niña podía tomar, es decir, decidir sobre su cuerpo y hacerse la interrupción, obviamente si no había algún peligro desde el punto de vista médico que se lo impidiera.
The father was dead, so it was only the mother opinion that we were looking for. And that was the first case that went to the justice and went to a trial. And there, the judges decided that the girl had her right to decide in that pregnancy or not, and give the girl the right to do so.
Otro tema vinculado a este mismo ejemplo es el relacionado con el embarazo adolescente en nuestro país, que realmente lo hemos reconocido socialmente como un problema social que hay que atender con mucha prioridad y urgencia. El embarazo adolescente.
So, teenage pregnancy is a problem. And in Cuba, we have that problem too. And we are working on that to see how we can solve that situation.
En este sentido, se han tomado muchas medidas porque realmente en Cuba hay muy baja fecundidad, pero dentro de los determinados, es decir, dentro de las situaciones de la fecundidad está un alto por ciento de menores de edad que se embarazan.
We have problem in Cuba with fertility because, as you know, we have a low rate of fertility in the country right now, and we have many teenagers that they get pregnant, and that is a situation to find a solution for.
Hay cuestiones, por supuesto, que son muy dramáticas y que están vinculadas a la situación de bloqueo que tiene nuestro país, como es el del acceso a métodos anticonceptivos, porque en Cuba hay una falta de métodos anticonceptivos, no solo condones, sino también otros métodos que pudieran utilizarse y que no podemos acceder por causa del bloqueo.
One problem that Cuba is facing, and is related to the blockade, is the fact that the contraceptives in Cuba are limited. Not only the condom, but also other kinds of contraceptives.
Pero obviamente, es decir, esta es una causa de peso, pero no es la única. Hay otras causas que están vinculadas, por ejemplo, con que necesitamos perfeccionar la educación integral de la sexualidad, romper brechas de género que existen sobre el tema, perfeccionar también nuestra legislación protectora de las niñas, niños y adolescentes.
And the contraceptive is not the only issue. We also have to reinforce sexual education in our population, and we have to. Sorry. Lo último.
¿No? Y la fortaleza que tenemos es la que les comentaba de la articulación entre nuestras instituciones. Por ejemplo, tenemos necesidad de que esta educación integral de la sexualidad no solo sea en las escuelas, también en las familias, en las comunidades, en los centros a donde van los adolescentes, y ahí confluyen varias de nuestras instituciones.
And as I said before, this is a partnership not only with the institutions, it's a partnership with the family, the community, the individuals, that all of them get aware of the fact that we need sexual education for the well-being of our population.
Y se han aprobado dos políticas importantes. Una, la política para la atención a la dinámica demográfica en el país, y otra, la política para la atención integral de la niñez, la infancia y la adolescencia, que además en estos momentos tiene una gran fortaleza, que es que estamos discutiendo para aprobar en julio el Código de la Niñez, las Infancias y la Juventud.
So the Code of Children, the infant children, teenagers, and youth is going to be established in June. Junio, ¿verdad? In June. But for that, we need to collaborate, all of us in all the different fields, to educate the population.
Y por último, quisiera también poner el ejemplo. Osmaida hablaba de los pasos que se han dado vinculados al respeto y a garantizar los derechos de las personas por razón de su identidad de género. Ella decía de la resolución que permite el cambio de nombre de las personas, pero tenemos todavía el desafío de lo relacionado con el cambio de sexo.
We have a great challenge with the change of sex of the population from the LGBTQI plus. And as my colleague said, there are some measures implemented, but still we are working in the process.
Tenemos en el cronograma legislativo la ley de identidad, pero que todavía faltan 2 años para su aprobación, pero en estos momentos se está discutiendo también para su aprobación en julio la ley del registro del Estado Civil, donde se van a incorporar aspectos vinculados al cambio de sexo sin necesidad, por ejemplo, de una operación si la persona no lo desea.
We have 2 things that we are working on. One is the identity law, and the other one is to recognize the identity of people regardless of surgery or not.
Y bueno, ya con esto termino porque no me queda tiempo y solo quería ponerles algunos ejemplos de todas las cosas que había comentado Maida. Gracias.
Thank you very much. This is just some examples because we are running out of time, and I wanted just to express some of them for you to know. Thank you.
Thank you, and wow, the family code from Cuba is just a dream for the people who live here, right, in this country. But maybe one day. So we are so far right now. Oh my goodness, we are so far. Thank you, compañera Camila González Ferrer, Vice President of National Union of Cuban Jurists, UNJC. And now I'm going to pass the mic to our compañera Cindy Domingo, excuse me, U.S. Women and Cuba Collaboration. Welcome, compañera Cindy, and thank you for helping with the time management and all that. You're amazing. Oh, you're gonna do it in English, right? Yes. Yeah. Great. Thanks.
So you were supposed to only hear from me, but I like to be collective. So I've invited 2 of my other sisters to co-present with me in the same time slot. So we are going to take about 15 minutes to do our presentations. And this section is about what you can do relative to our situation here in the United States and how we can support Cuba. Because we come here to learn about Cuba so that we can change the world. Because we know that the Cuban society led by the Cuban women have advanced women's equality more so than any other country in this world. They have been on the forefront of implementing the Beijing Platform for Action, which is why they are here in the United States right now. And we need to popularize. After 30 years, many US people do not know about the Beijing Platform for Action. Most people do not know of the accomplishments of the women and girls in Cuba. And we know that they are making another world possible right now in Cuba, as you have heard. I just came back from 3 weeks in the Philippines. Women have no reproductive rights there. Because of the Catholic Church, they have no right to any kind of birth control. They have no right to control their bodies, and they do not have sex education in their schools. And so therefore, you have a huge population explosion that is uncontrolled. So we have a lot to learn from the Cuban people. We wish in this country we had a federation of Cuban women. We need a federation of US women. And so I've asked Jan Strout to join me. Jan Strout is one of the co-founders of the US Women and Cuba Collaboration. And I'm glad to say she brought me into the Cuba work because we have been longtime members of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. I'm also the co-chair of the Cuban and the Bolivarian Alliance Issues Committee and chair of a legacy of equality leadership and organizing who for 50 years have stood on the front line with the Cuban people. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jan Stroud, and I've also asked Natasha, she has so many names, Natasha Lucia Ora-Bannon, who is one of the co-chairs of ASERI, the Alliance for Cuban Engagement and Respect. And we're going to talk about what you can do to support Cuba, to lift the blockade, and to allow the Federation of Cuban Women to come here, not just now during the UN Commission on the Status of Women, but to come to the United States anytime we want them so that we can all learn from the Cuban women. Right.
Buenas tardes. Great to see everyone. I'm Jan Strout. In addition to working with Cindy and others on these important issues of global women's human rights, global feminisms, I also am president of an organization known as Montana National Organization for Women. We hope in that organization to have a federation or a federation of U.S. women as well, because we know this model is so important. I've dedicated most of my life to advancing all women's lives and human rights, to end violence, to end discrimination, and to be able to have our rightful places and options in society. And I find reproductive justice in the United States happens when we here are inspired by the Cuban women's human rights agenda, as Cindy described, that is based on and utilizes the declaration, Beijing Platform and Declaration of Action. This incorporates bodily autonomy, legal and economic security, education, and healthcare as human rights, and includes a solidarity foreign policy. But let's be clear, right now there is a war globally on women, girls, and others most underrepresented and most marginalized. But I want to focus, as Cindy said, on the United States and in some examples of my own state, which is Montana, a very bright red fascist conservative state with a lot of hope and organizing to change. This war on women has taken place for some women for many decades, if not centuries, especially brown and Black women, LGBT women, trans, femme, and certainly women who have been criminalized by poverty in this country. So this is, while it's not new, what we are facing now is Project 2025 on steroids. We have seen that right out the last month or so, coming up to 2 months of the disaster, harm, and impacts on so many people, but it has had a disproportionate impact on women, girls, and all who are outside of the gender binary in this country. So I want to share a few things that are examples that I hope will lead to ways we can be in solidarity with women's and LGBT organizations in this country as we work to build a U.S. women's movement to change U.S. foreign policy toward Cuba. And in this way, when we look at bodily autonomy, basically we are looking at both the injustice of it, and we are looking at possibilities of liberation that are marked in those bodies, and we are fighting back. So let me use a few examples. One has been the women's marches. The women's marches from the very beginning of Trump's first term, coming out the gate in January 2017, involved millions of women worldwide. We had 10,000 of them at our state capitol in Helena, Montana. We're a small population state. It was the dead of winter, -10 degrees. We were marching. We have also had ballot measures. Okay, let's clap that. and I added at least 10 pounds of down coats and boots. But we also have ballot measures, and those ballot measures have been essential to be able to establish the legal right to our bodily autonomy in the states that have been the brightest red. There are 14 states that absolutely ban abortion, ban all forms of sexual and reproductive health, look like the Philippines, as Cindy has described, and are making women die as a result of the lack of our human right to bodily autonomy. Practically 2/3 of the states in this country have some level of restriction on our bodily autonomy. And I want to include the LGBTQ, queer, and trans populations because they are equally marked by the threats to our bodily autonomy. And a couple of, thank you. So we're also looking at the fact that transphobia has been rampant in every marker in this country used to create fear and to restrict everyone's health. Violence has been on the uptake, not only affecting the diversity of women, but in my state, and I'm wearing my missing and murdered Indigenous women and two-spirited people badge because that's a major campaign to stop that form of violence, as well as what's happening to migrant women. I want to mention just two other things. One is menstrual equity. We are looking at the fact that girls are leading that campaign to also look at what's happening to women and girls in detention centers and in prisons. And you'll hear about a project that we have with the U.S. Women and Cuba collaboration because the supplies are also impacting women in Cuba. And last but not least, we need solidarity also in the United States with women's and trans and LGBT organizations to build this movement strong and important that it is. And we call upon you to find out what's happening with maternal and infant mortality to Black and brown women in our communities, to find out about poverty with children, to find out all of these things, because every one of these can be looked at for Cuba, the Families Code, all of these that are making another world possible. Thank you.
I'll try to be quick. I just want to point out that the topic of conversation for this panel around bodily autonomy and bodily sovereignty is so appropriate when we think about how the policies of the US intentionally undermine sovereignty and autonomy. And the latest decision by the Trump administration to continue to go after Cuban doctors and the Cuban healthcare system as it relates to global solidarity is also about undermining the provision of healthcare, including reproductive healthcare in other countries. We saw that recently this week in the Caribbean, where the State Department threatened to revoke the visas of government officials to the US if they continue to accept Cuban doctors. And that is, and we should see that in the context of a continuation of this conversation, that it undermines global healthcare, including reproductive healthcare and women's health. And so the response to this from those of us here isn't just how we get inspired by what Cuban women and Cubans have done, but really what is our responsibility to ensure that they're able to continue their own political project, separate and apart from whatever we feel inspired to do here. And what I always come back to, and what throughout the years Cubans have always told me, is that we need you to do what we can't do, which isn't just the solidarity word, which is important, but it's, can you please change your government's policies? And that isn't always where I think those of the solidarity space want to go or end up. But what we actually need to do is change the laws. When we talk about the effect of the blockade and the 243 sanctions from the first Trump administration that were continued by Biden and now are going to be enhanced by Trump too, it is our exclusive obligation to change that. And nobody else can do that but those in this country. And it isn't just, I think, how we uplift the Cuban model, but really how we do our absolute best to ensure that it becomes a global model by removing all of the legal barriers. And I said that that's exactly, oh yeah, please. And that's exactly what we intend to do, which is how do we change Washington? How do we change the laws, the legal structure, and the regulatory framework that has been set up that has kept this cruel, unjust legal regime in place for 65 years plus. And that's only going to get worse. Well, what we have seen from literally day one of Trump's second term is that Cuba is a foreign policy priority because of the ideological lens in which it views the region and the island's role in the region and the world. It isn't that it presents a military threat. It has absolutely no reason to be back on the state sponsors of terrorism list. It is exclusively because of the role that it plays geopolitically. And so we have to challenge consistently the basis for that. And while it may feel like an uphill battle, I want to assure you that there are far more people who are quiet on this issue that actually supports normalization of relations than they do the position of their party, either party, because the Democratic Party, and it was Biden that continued the Trump program around Cuba. It wasn't until his very last week in a fairly cowardly act removed Cuba from the state sponsors of terrorism, which knew that it would last 7 days, which in fact is how long it lasted. That the state sponsors of terrorism designation, which is by an administration, is now attempting to be codified in legislation called the Force Act, which would remove any future executive's ability to exclusively decide whether or not Cuba's on that list and would make it another act of Congress. And what do we know about when there's laws passed around Cuba? They don't change. It's been 65 years of continuous legal laws that have perpetuated and sustained the blockade, the economic, commercial, and financial blockade. And so once that becomes law, it will be extremely difficult to remove Cuba from that list. We also have seen that Trump is considering putting Cuba on the travel ban and the travel restrictions for all US citizens, including Cuban Americans, that would be impossible for them to go see and support their families. I don't have time to get into the impact of what all of those mean, but that means that we have to consistently speak to our members of Congress and to this administration. ACERE on our website, acere.org, has phone scripts, email scripts. We create target lists around specific legislation, how we both go on the defense and on the offense. If there's one positive thing that we can support by this administration around Cuba, it's been defunding USAID and the potential that also means for defunding Radio Marti, TV Marti, and eliminating the predominant narrative and the vehicles with which that gets out. We know, even though it doesn't seem like it, there are many members of Congress on both sides of the aisle that actually want to improve and enhance relations, but the dominant voices in their parties, including Democrats, don't support that, because particularly Florida Democrats don't support that. And they're the ones that have been allowed to create the narrative that defines what Cuba policy will be within the United States. And so I want to encourage everyone, in addition to your ongoing solidarity work in space, that you take time every month, every 2 months, to email, to call your member of Congress. If you need to know who the foreign policy staffer is in your office, the legislative director, we are happy to assist you with that. All of that is public information, because otherwise it will always be the dominant voice within the two-party system that continues to define what Cuba policy is going to look like moving forward. And so it can't just be that the streets are the place we feel most comfortable speaking out about this. It has to be Washington. Thank you.
So just let me, actually, that was a perfect entree to what I was going to present. But before I do, I want to just say a few words about U.S. Women in Cuba collaboration and WILF's Cuba and the Bolivarian Alliance. We, for over 25 years, have been building a strong U.S. women's movement dedicated to ending the U.S. government blockade against Cuba and to creating mutually beneficial U.S.-Cuba relations. And our work advances the rights of all women, not just women in the United States, women in Cuba, but all women. Because when we rise, all women rise and society as a whole rises. And so we do this in the context of universal human rights. And when the ambassador from Washington, D.C. came to Seattle, Washington, we decided, because we have a woman Cuban ambassador in Washington, D.C., because of the conditions that U.S. women face here in the United States, and that we are inspired by the Cuban women's struggle in Cuba, we have decided that in the fall, we are going to do a mobilization of women, and we invite some of you men, but mainly women and girls, to come to Washington, D.C. for an educational and for an advocacy day. We know in this country, they want to disempower women. They want us to stay in our homes, wash dishes, wash clothes, even by hand, and do the floors, but not to go out and create a feminist foreign policy in which the Cuban experience and what they're implementing in Cuba should be the center of our work. So we invite you to come to Washington, D.C. in the fall. We don't have the date yet, to come, as Natasha has said, to lobby our Congress people, to learn from the experience of the Cuban women and from other women who are struggling for women's rights all over the country, to change our foreign policy towards Cuba. We will benefit, Cuba will benefit, and women all over the world will benefit. And we want to do this in the context as well as a Beijing platform for action, because feminist foreign policy is such an important part of that Beijing platform for action. And so we will be doing our work in the context of that plan for action. We also hopefully will be able to do a delegation of women. Hopefully a lot of young women will come to see in Cuba for themselves how women are fighting for true equality based on a human rights agenda. And so we will also announce at that in the fall, or even earlier in the fall, when our women's delegation will occur. We also, we are trying to assist and to support the Cuban women to develop new economic forms of support. One of the projects we have is the Lesbian Allies Project, and all of the information that Yamila has shared with us in terms of how Cuba has centered the rights and the advancements of the LGBTQ2I+ communities is so important for our communities here in light of the attacks that people are facing, especially trans people. And so in a society when they are being uplifted, our society is threatening their lives, even of young children and teenagers who all they want to do is live their lives freely. And so we want to especially launch a new project, an economic project with our sister lesbian group Phoenix in Cienfuegos, initially to make reusable menstrual pads, something that only women can understand what it means to be without menstrual pads. I mean, men can just not imagine what that problem is, but women do, women and girls do. So we are initially economically supporting a project in Cienfuegos and hopefully expand to other products that women cannot get in Cuba. And so we are hopefully going to launch that project, and we can let you know how you can support that economically and politically, and just moral support for these women and girls in Cienfuegos. And hopefully that project will expand. You can find that information on our website, womenincuba.org. And lastly, we have one last webinar that we are doing with the Federation of Cuban Women next Wednesday at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, entitled Cuba's Families Code, Redefining the Global Fight for LGBTQIA2S+ rights, featuring our women from the lesbian and Allies Project of the U.S. Women in Cuba Collaboration and representatives of the Federation of Cuban Women. Thank you.
And the Collective of U.S. Women in Cuba Collaboration. I want to acknowledge the presence here of compañera Andrea Liceo, also of the Program Voices of Resistance, giving us on Tuesday at 7 p.m. at WBN 9.5 FM in New York. We're going to have space for Q&A, about 10 minutes. So, prepare your questions. 15 minutes, we have a little bit more time. We've got great time. So we have some hands already up. And how are we gonna do the mic between here and there?
They're gonna need to come up to the mic there.
Okay, so they'll ask their questions here now. So we have the first person already. Yes, you're back to me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I'm speaking to both mics. Thank you. I don't like to have my back to people, but how we gonna do this, bro? Help me out. Okay. Okay. I'll let you do that. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Asantwa Nkrumah Toure. I'm an organizer with Black Alliance for Peace and the Green Party of Philadelphia in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My pronouns are she, her, and co-conspirator. Now, having said all that, I want to thank all of the panelists very much. I would just want to say two things. I think for myself, I do identify as a feminist, but I don't agree with everybody that calls themselves a feminist. Because for me, feminism is based on ideology and not biology. I'm for the feminism of, say, a Ella Baker or an Angela Davis, but I'm not for the feminism of a Hillary Clinton. I want to make that clear. And lastly, to anyone on the panel, if you could please say, how long did it take you to come up with the family code from beginning to the time it was finally voted on and implemented? How much time did that take? And thank you all.
Para concluir el código de la familia del principio al final.
Sean breves, pero rápido.
Oigan, eso fue tremendo.
That was intense.
Pero bueno, en la última etapa, vamos a concentrarnos en la última etapa.
We are going to talk about the last period of that process.
A partir de la aprobación por referendo constitucional, por referendo de nuestra constitución,
So starting with the last part when it was approved by our constitution.
En abril del 2019 se crea un grupo de trabajo que empieza a elaborar el proyecto de código.
So from April 2019, we started a commission, a collaborative commission for the project.
Este es un grupo multidisciplinario e intersectorial en el que estaban especialistas y expertos en tema y también instituciones y organizaciones como la Federación, como la Unión de Juristas.
So in this group of specialists, high-tech people included the Cuban Women Federation, the legal system, and many other institutions.
Y bueno, estuvimos trabajando 2 años aproximadamente hasta el 2021 en las primeras versiones.
Y all this group for 2 years until 2021 started with the first versions of the new code.
En abril del 2021 aproximadamente, no recuerdo bien el mes, se crea ya la comisión oficial, la comisión redactora de la Asamblea Nacional del Poder Popular.
So
April 2021 was created the official commission of the People's Power Constitution.
de la Asamblea Nacional del Poder
Oh,
Popular.
People's Power Popular Assembly.
Y en septiembre de 2021 comenzamos con la versión 22 del código a hacer la consulta especializada a todas las instituciones, organizaciones y centros de investigación que podían tributar especialmente al contenido del proyecto.
In September 2021, that was the version 22nd, that it was the specialized consultation of the code.
Aquí en esta consulta que fue tan amplia, fueron más de 47 instituciones y organizaciones, como les decía. Estamos hablando desde las, por ejemplo, las universidades, las instituciones, el Centro de Estudios Psicológicos, Sociológicos, pero por ejemplo también nos reunimos con todas las denominaciones religiosas de nuestro país, con todas en todo el país.
More than 47 institutions integrated this commission, organizations, universities, sociological organizations, psychological organizations, religious people.
Nos reunimos con las redes de mujeres lesbianas, gay, trans.
Got together with the LGBTAQ+1.
Nos reunimos con las asociaciones de personas en situación de discapacidad, con los grupos de personas adultas mayores.
We also gather with people with limited capacities and with the elderly people as well.
Y así. Y entonces, de esa consulta especializada, se modificó el 60% del proyecto que teníamos hasta ese momento, con todas las aportaciones.
So, with all the input that we got from all these industries, organizational representation, the 60% of the project was modified.
Y después esa versión, que ya era la versión 23, se lleva a la Asamblea Nacional del Poder Popular en diciembre, es discutida por los diputados y se aprueba entonces la versión que fue a consulta popular.
So with all this, we created the version 23 that it was presented in the National Assembly. And in December, all the deputies discussing.
Y bueno, de febrero a abril tuvimos entonces la consulta popular en todas las comunidades de nuestro país. Los juristas fuimos y explicamos en cada consejo popular los contenidos del código y se hicieron muchísimas aportaciones por parte de la población.
And from February to April, representations of all these organizations went to the local popular councils meetings to talk to the Cuban population and discuss this new project.
Y entre abril y mayo aproximadamente estuvimos trabajando en todas esas propuestas que derivó que se modificara de alguna u otra manera el 49% del proyecto. Fíjense todo lo que se fue incorporando de criterios tanto de expertos como de la población.
And after these meetings with the local population, from April to May, all the proposals were revised and we got 49% of changes in the project. You can see how we have been working a lot at all the different levels, up top, down top.
Y en el mes de julio de 2022 se discute y se aprueba por la Asamblea Nacional la última versión del proyecto, la versión 25, que es la que se lleva en septiembre de ese año a referendo popular. ganando con más del 60% de los votos del código.
So, and the last project, the 25th, that it was approved in July 2022, in September was approved for a 60%, won the approval for a 60%.
Fue el proyecto, es decir, el proceso participativo más intenso que hemos tenido en nuestro país, sin lugar a dudas.
It has been the most intense popular project in our country in the last years.
Qué bueno que precisamente ese nivel de participación hizo que, pese a que había muchos criterios en diferentes contenidos del proyecto, pues que se creara un consenso favorable al mismo y que, bueno, se aprobara mayoritariamente en septiembre.
And in spite of differences in different sectors, because of the majority having a consent, so it was approved.
Y bueno, ya llevamos 2 años y medio de implementación del código, en el que hemos tenido muchos aprendizajes.
And in the last 2.5 years, we have been implementing the family code, and we have been learning a lot.
Donde se ha capacitado muchísimo a los operadores jurídicos para que puedan aplicarlo de la mejor forma.
And there has been lots of professional development activities and training for all these people who are implementing the code.
Y donde estamos obteniendo resultados muy positivos, y muchas de las cuestiones que eran necesidades sentidas de las familias cubanas y que no tenían forma de solucionarse, pues ahora tienen un procedimiento por el cual transcurrir.
And nowadays we have a way of giving answers to all these families that they have those conflicts before, and they didn't have any kind of solution among them.
No sé si quieres saber algo más de
Anything
bueno.
We can take one more question because we have about 5 more minutes and we'll close. You have someone? Yes, you have someone. Hi.
Yeah, I've seen very. We all know that the reproductive decisions, in that, the question of childcare availability and quality is a big factor. So I wondered if you could simply say a few words about the challenges today under these conditions of childcare facilities.
No, no es una pregunta. Es un comentario. Es que ella tampoco entiende lo que es.
Los retos que ustedes están teniendo sobre el apoyo a los niños.
Sí, sobre el apoyo a los niños.
Sí, el cuidado de los niños.
Childcare.
Pero es una pregunta o un comentario.
Le están preguntando si hay algún reto
Ya.
con
el tema de los cuidados.
Cuidado.
Sí, no, realmente nosotros tenemos muchos retos en el ámbito no solo del cuidado a las niñas, niños y adolescentes, sino también a las personas mayores.
So we have many challenges, not only for the child care, but also for the elderly.
Uno de los efectos más dramáticos del bloqueo es la migración.
So one of the impacts that we have in our country is the immigration.
Y eso ha hecho que muchas personas en una situación tan dramática como la que tenemos han salido del país a buscar mejoras económicas, pero eso ha hecho que, por ejemplo, muchos niños y niñas estén al cuidado de abuelos, tíos o terceras personas.
And while parents have decided to leave Cuba for other opportunities, the children have been in the care of elderly or other relatives or even friends.
Ha hecho que muchas personas adultas mayores vivan solas y que no tengan a nadie que los cuide, a lo mejor de algún vecino, alguna amistad o alguna persona que ese familiar paga para que le cuiden, pero que no tienen los cuidados, vamos a decir, afectivos que necesitan.
So related to family relations and emotional situations, there are elderly people who are living alone because their younger generations have left the country and nobody is taking care of them, or the relatives send money to be for them to receive some kind of support, but still that emotional relationship that we have as a family is broken.
Imagínense en la situación económica que tiene nuestro país, esto es un desafío muy fuerte.
And due to the challenges, the economical challenges that our country is facing, that's a huge problem.
Porque aunque el Código de las Familias tiene mecanismos y figuras para exigir a los responsables que se hagan cargo de las personas que tienen bajo su cuidado, cuando el tema está en la migración, todo se complica.
So even though the family code has lots of laws and regulations in support of the care of minors and elderly and the family at large, so when we deal with immigration, that's a huge challenge.
En octubre del año pasado se aprobó la política integral para el cuidado, la política nacional para el cuidado integral de la vida en el país.
So we have established since October last year, the government has established the national policy for the well-being of people.
Que es, o sea, la política que traza la estrategia que va a asumir el país para responder a todos estos desafíos que tienen el ámbito de los cuidados.
So this policy is a strategy that the government is implementing to face all these challenges that we are having in Cuba.
Me voy a quedar aquí porque pudiera. Es un tema muy amplio, pero bueno, no tenemos mucho tiempo.
This is a huge topic, so I'm going to stop here. But otherwise I can be for hours.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much. I want to also give, ask you to give an applause to our translator who has been amazing. Thank you so much. I've been there before. I love the conversation school, so I know what it means. And so, once again,
Maida.
Director of International Relations for the FMC, oh my God, I'm going crazy. The Federation of Cuban Women, la Federación de Mujeres Cubanas. Yes. Would you take that argument? Oh, I thought like they were rushing us. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. So we were a little rushed. We apologize for that. So what we do, we take questions or? Huh? Okay, so more questions, because we have them already. Hay más tiempo. Podemos tomar un poquito más, nos dieron más tiempo.
Hay más brazos levantados.
Estábamos hablando que podemos tomar un poquito más. Okay, so who's gonna come up? Quiero ver la frente. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Soy Karin Molís de la Universidad de Villanova en Filadelfia y me gustaría saber si hello, now you can hear me. I'm Karen Hollis from the University of Villanova in Philadelphia. Oh, okay. Bueno, y me gustaría saber qué tipo de oposición había ahí cuando ustedes estaban publicando todo eso del del código, que si fue organizado o de espontáneas preguntas o cosas así. And so I try to ask if there was opposition to, of course, the family code. And if so, was it organized and how did they conduct themselves?
Bueno, sí, a ver, yo voy a comentar algunas de las cuestiones que en el proceso de consulta popular causó más dilemas o más discusiones, más preocupaciones.
So I'm going to talk about the challenges, the big challenges that we have, or the ones that
Sí, me acuerdo.
we discussed
Igualdad.
more.
La adopción. Ajá. Sí. Bueno, entre los temas que más debates se generaron fue, por ejemplo, la propuesta de la aprobación del matrimonio entre dos personas, es decir, el matrimonio igualitario, la gestación solidaria, la adopción de las personas del mismo sexo, ¿no? ¿Así? El tema de la autonomía progresiva de los niños.
So some of the issues that they confronted, lots of discussion, we have adoption by same-sex parents, marriage with people of the same sex, surrogates, pregnancies,
La autonomía progresiva.
De los niños.
and the
El tema de la
progressive
responsabilidad parental.
adoption.
También el otro. Sí. Sí. Y también la eliminación de la
De decir patria potestad.
ajá, exacto. La eliminación de la patria potestad por la sustitución por responsabilidad parental.
Término, la
El
sustitución
término, del término.
patria potestad por
Por
responsabilidad parental.
Okay. And the elimination of.
la eliminación del término patria potestad.
Sí, pero patria potestad es el family.
No.
Patria potestad, los cubanos que saben inglés. ¿Ah? Patria potestad. Parental autonomy. Okay, among the issues that they were really tough to deal with, we have the elimination of parental autonomy for, it's just the title, for parental responsibility.
Ujú. Yamila, ¿no? Ella amplía.
A ver, la consulta del código tuvo un sentido. Número uno, de que las personas dieran su opinión, hicieran
¿Qué le pasó?
propuestas concretas para modificar, ampliar lo que consideraran del proyecto.
Well, the discussion of the code, one of the objectives was for the population to give opinions and also provide proposals on what to do.
Pero también tenía un sentido educativo. Es decir, porque no podemos olvidar la función educativa que puede tener una consulta de esta magnitud y además lo que va a representar después como también en el ámbito de la educación el contenido de esa norma jurídica.
And not only to give opinion and provide proposals, but also it has an educational component because it's not only to talk, but also educate everybody to see how the law was going to be represented.
La consulta del código y anteriormente la consulta de la Constitución nos dio la medida de que en Cuba el machismo tenía todavía más fuerza de la que nos gustaría.
unfortunately, we got to the conclusion that after all the discussion of the family code and the constitution, we realized that machismo is still a big problem in Cuba.
Y bueno, de alguna manera fue un termómetro de cómo se estaban moviendo las cosas a nivel de la subjetividad en la población. Sí, no.
And
Se finish.
and we are running out of time again. But I can tell you that that was like a thermometer of how the situations and tensions were in the population.
Pero no, para terminar la idea, no obstante, porque podemos también sobre esto estar hablando mucho rato, lo importante es que pese a toda esa oposición fue más fuerte.
Y campañas también
todo
anteriores.
lo que se hizo fue tan fuerte, el nivel de participación también a favor del proyecto, que ganamos con una norma que es muy protectora y muy amplia de los derechos de todas las familias.
Bien.
And in spite of all the opposition and all the discussion,
Y ahora la vamos
we
a
got a big amount of people approving the new toll system.
Ya. Ya nos vamos.
Okay, now,
Gracias, gracias.
So we want to give you two an applause for being such a great audience, okay, so thank you so much. And thank you, compañera Osmaida Hernández, Yamila González, our compañera Cindy Domingo, and our amazing translator, Peter and Caridad Morales Musso, for being so amazing.
No.